Howdy kids, me Bob Harris, Senior Editor of FootballDiehards.com. Time for your Week 9 injury review, preview, update, overview. The thing I like to do every Saturday, gets you up to speed, sets the table, so to speak, puts the things on your radar that need to be on your radar. The focus here is on the skill players. If you need to go a little more in depth, Casey Joyner's Week 9 injury report, sit start. We'll dig a little deeper into some of the offensive line, defensive issues that maybe will help or hurt your teams. We're going to get the guys you need to know. Remember, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm recording this at about 1 p.m. Eastern, about 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. We don't know everything yet, so you'll need to check the late-breaking update section of the site. If we discuss players that you're interested in here, or better still, go to the FSP staff rankings, and you'll find links to all the stories. You can kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, for all whole list of players with the links to the latest information and also a little additional information based on where a player's ranked, right? So if you're a great player and he's at the bottom of the rankings, you're going, why? We'll tell you why. Week 9, Lions, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Washington football team, all on bye. Get them out of your lineups, please. Don't get caught short. So we'll dive in. I'll do these chronologically like I always do. Early afternoon window, late afternoon window, Sunday night and Monday. So you understand what kind of fallback options you might need as you go through these. So here's what we need to know right now. And we will know more about Christian McCaffrey and perhaps Sam Darnold before the end of Saturday. McCaffrey has practiced on a limited basis all week. He is designated to return from IR. The word is they will activate him at some point Saturday if they feel he's ready today. They have a practice Saturday morning. They're going to see if he can be explosive or not. Either way, expect some sharing with Chuba Hubbard, Amir Abdullah, Royce Freeman all in the mix. I don't think they'll bring McCaffrey back in the full role. At least that's what they're saying, right? Maybe they can't help themselves. As for Darnold, he has a concussion and a shoulder issue, both. Has to clear. The last step is the independent neurologist. He did get on the practice field at times this week, so he's been progressing through the protocol. Is he cleared yet? We won't know. PJ Walker will start if Darnold doesn't. Again, this is one where you'll want to watch the late-breaking update section closely to see if McCaffrey is activated or not. There will be some others on this list as well. On the other side of the ball, N'Keal Harry, Jonnu Smith, Nick Folk, all listed as questionable. You're not playing Harry. You might have to play Smith. I expect him to play. If you're playing Nick Folk, he's been dealing with this left knee issue back into September, so seems like he'll be ready to go. The only option would be if they elevate somebody off the practice squad before the end of today. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Denver Broncos. CeeDee Lamb we're watching, Amari Cooper, both listed as questionable this week. Cooper rolled his ankle in practice on Wednesday. Mike McCarthy sounded optimistic about him and Cooper both playing. You saw Cooper last week, had the hamstring issue rolling around on the tennis ball, trying to keep it loose. Seems likely he will play. Michael Gallup could return. He's another one we're waiting activation on. He's been practicing since last week, so maybe he gets something done or not. You'll have to watch for that. If he's activated, it might be a reasonable play. Blake Jarwin has been ruled out with a hip injury. For the Denver Broncos, other side of the ball, there will be no Noah Fant this week. He'll miss this game on the reserve COVID list. Albert Okwebunam, or as he's better known, Albert O, is listed as questionable. The knee issue seems likely to play and would have a solid role. If not, Eric Sauber would get it all to himself. But I expect Albert O to go. New York Giants will be hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Saquon Barkley ruled out. Sterling Shepard ruled out. Gary Brightwell, the running back, he's listed as questionable in the COVID protocols. It sounds like he will not be cleared in time to play. That's reporting on Saturday. Kenny Golladay, John Ross, both listed as questionable. Both expected to play, according to Dan Dugan of The Athletic. As of Saturday morning, we'll get the final word, of course, Sunday leading up to kickoff, but it seems like they'll return, join Kadarius Toney. Dante Pettis will not play, and probably will not play for a while. He is placed on injured reserve with a shoulder injury. The Baltimore, and on the other side of the ball, of course, Las Vegas, and horrible news of Henry Ruggs is no longer on the team, facing multiple felony charges, many years in prison after a horrible DUI accident. Zay Jones moves up in the rotation. Obviously, fantasy football stuff, it's what we do, but horrible situation. Want to acknowledge that. Baltimore hosting the Minnesota Vikings. We have Rashad Bateman turned up as questionable on Friday on the injury report with a groin issue. Why is that a concern? Obviously because he had groin surgery earlier this season that put him out for a while. John Harbaugh downplayed it. You'll find an article in the late breaking update section. Look for the Baltimore articles where Harbaugh basically downplays it. We'll find out tomorrow. Sammy Watkins also listed as questionable. Seems like he might return for this one. They'd love to get all three of these receivers, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Hollywood Brown, all on the field at the same time. Latavius Murray listed as doubtful. Seems almost all but certain to miss another game. So that leaves Devonta Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, maybe Tyson Williams to handle the backfield work, and Lamar Jackson, of course. The New Orleans Saints will host the Atlanta Falcons. Jameis Winston not playing. Trevor Siemian has been named the starter, not Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill has been cleared, it looks like, through the concussion protocol. Practiced fully on for the last 2 days of the week, so seems like he'll be available to handle a role, maybe his usual Taysom Hill role of kind of goal line, red zone weapon, receiving, passing threat. So we'll see, and that'll be a week-to-week decision. Sean Payton says they'll kind of play it by ear and see where it goes. But this week it's Trevor Siemian. On the other side of the ball, Calvin Ridley has been placed on the non-football injury list. If you missed it last Sunday, he stepped away from the game. Mental health issues cited as the reason. So he'll miss at least 3 games. Tajay Sharp moves into the starting lineup alongside Russell Gage, Kyle Pitts, Cordero Patterson, probably the preferred options there for most fantasy managers. And it's a tough matchup for all of them. The Miami Dolphins have a great matchup against the Houston Texans. Texans will get back Tyrod Taylor. He hasn't been officially activated just as I started recording this video, but they had already announced that he would start, so activation we knew was coming. And Pharaoh Brown will not be playing alongside him in Miami. The tight end has been ruled out with a thigh injury. It cost him last week as well. But good luck, some hopes for Brandon Cooks managers, and we'll see how that goes against the Dolphins. Their cornerback's been struggling. On the other side of the ball, Devonte Parker, placed on injured reserve, suffered a setback to his hamstring. He had missed 3 games, came back last week, played pretty well against Buffalo, and then this week in practice, aggravated the injury. He will miss the next 3 games at least. Tua Tagovailoa listed as questionable. The ribs, less an issue apparently. He banged his finger on a helmet last week, and that's a little bit of an issue, but he's listed as questionable, expected to play. The Jacksonville Jaguars will be taking on the Buffalo Bills. In Jacksonville, James Robinson listed as questionable. Thought he was not going to play. They're calling it a pain management, a pain threshold issue. We'll see if he's active. It's a tough matchup no matter what, even if he's healthy. So you might want to look for other options. Carlos Hyde will move into the starting lineup if Robinson can't go. Don't be surprised if you see some Dario Ogunbowale or some Divine Ozigbo mixing in with Carlos Hyde in this one, and none of them faring extremely well. On the other side of the ball, Dawson Knox ruled out with a hand injury. He had surgery 2 weeks ago. They called it a 3-week issue, so missed this game and maybe be back next week. Cole Beasley listed as questionable. Didn't practice much this week, so that'll be worth watching. Didn't go Wednesday or Thursday. I think he was limited on Friday, so that'll be one to watch heading into the game. Anyone who's playing in this game, obviously, it's a great matchup for Buffalo. On the Buffalo side of the ball, merits attention. The Cleveland Browns are at Cincinnati. They'll be there without Odell Beckham. He will be waived by the team, won't be playing this week. The run is over. They just can't seem to get along, so they're moving on, and he'll go on waivers and be available to be claimed by teams. If he's not claimed, this will probably all happen on Tuesday. They didn't process the claim yesterday, so it'll happen Monday, and then he'll go through, and Tuesday we'll find out, or late Monday and Tuesday find out what his destination is. Donovan Peoples-Jones listed as questionable for this game. Has missed 2 games now. I think he hurt himself in pregame warm-ups prior to the Denver game 2 weeks ago, so hopefully they can get him back. They'll need some help there. It's Jarvis Landry, it's Peoples-Jones, it's Anthony Schwartz, Rashad Higgins. They don't have a lot beyond that. For Cincinnati, Auden Tate and Chris Evans both listed as questionable. Both missed last week's game with the same injuries. Neither of them are really fantasy factors. So late afternoon kickoffs. The Chargers are at Philadelphia. Is that a late afternoon game? Do I have that right? Let me double check that, because it seems like if it's in Philadelphia, it should probably be an early game. No, it's a late afternoon game. All right, so if that's the case, we've got really not like a huge thing. Justin Jackson's been ruled out with a quad injury he suffered last week, had a great long run. Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert has some minor issues. Eckler played through the hip injury soreness last week. Justin Herbert has had a sore hand, missed some time early in practice this week, worked fully the last 2 days. So they're fine. Would like to see Justin Herbert get back on track, right? The Green Bay Packers are at Kansas City. There are issues here. Aaron Rodgers will not play. He's on the COVID reserve list. Went on reserve COVID, tested positive, not vaccinated, so he is out 10 days. That means his earliest return is next Saturday, the day before the Seahawks game. So he won't have any practice time if he does return. Jordan Love will start in his place. Maybe that'll help determine. It's a great matchup, right? So Jordan Love gets kind of an easy path to success here. Devontae Adams back in the fold. Alan Lazard back. Marquez Valdez-Scantling back. He'll have the full complement of running backs. He will not have Robert Tonyan, who suffered a season-ending knee injury last week. He is on IR. The Chiefs will be without Clyde Edwards-Helaire again. He is eligible to return from IR, but Andy Reid has already said he won't be activated today, but in the next couple of weeks that should happen. Arizona at San Francisco. It gets trickier. The local reporting in Arizona is that Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins seem like they won't play. Steve Keim, the GM, kind of made some comments similar to what we heard from the Cowboys last week when they sat Dak out, so they realize it's a long season. They want to be careful. We may find something out this afternoon when they travel to San Francisco. Maybe these guys don't go. But the betting lines are changing. There seems to be a lot of momentum, or at least a strong belief that neither of those guys will play. If they don't, and by the way, neither of them practiced all week. Cliff Kingsbury said Kyler Murray can easily play without practice. It's going to be based on how his ankle feels. It's a sprained ankle. Hopkins has a hamstring issue. A.J. Green will not play in this game either. He is on the reserve COVID list, so won't have to deal with that. So it's, if there's no Hopkins, it's Christian Kirk. And then we go down to Antoine Wesley, Rondale Moore, Andy Isabella. Zach Ertz should be busy either way, and Colt McCoy, whether Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray are starting. Jonathan Connor as well, or James Conner as well. On the other side of the ball, Elijah Mitchell is listed as questionable with rib injury. He was practicing late in the week, but with a no-contact jersey, so his status is uncertain. Deebo Samuel, also uncertain. He hasn't practiced much this week, limited the last 2 days. Seemed like he didn't do much. Has a calf injury. Kyle Shanahan said it's worse, but said it's worse than it has been, so we'll see if he gets on the field in this one. If he does, it's hard not to play him. George Kittle should return. We will find out later today. Kyle Shanahan said Friday that he will be activated and Robbie Gould will be activated. Jeffrey Wilson Jr. has a chance to be activated, so watch for those activations. Kittle moves right back into the ranks, the top 10 tight ends, obviously, if he returns. So, and expect that to be the case. Sunday Night Football. A.J. Brown, well, by the way, Derrick Henry won't be playing. You probably have heard this. He's had foot surgery, out 6 to 10 weeks. They signed Adrian Peterson. He has been elevated to the active roster, so he will play this week. And it's a permanent elevation. A lot of these teams do the 1 week promotions at a time. They didn't do that with him. They added him to the full roster earlier this week. So he will play alongside Jeremy McNichols. Kerry Blasingame, another running back, will not play this week. A.J. Brown listed as questionable. Turned up Friday. This seems like maybe not that serious. No one seems especially concerned. It's a tough matchup either way, especially without Henry, but that's something you'll want to watch heading into the game. It is a Sunday night kickoff, so you'll have to have a fallback plan. Julio Jones off the injury report. On the other side of the ball, Matthew Stafford didn't practice all week with a back issue. Sean McVay downplayed it. The same with Robert Woods, has a foot issue. He did not practice all week. Robert Woods is questionable. Matthew Stafford not on the injury report. So we'll have to watch Woods. My guess is he'll play. But again, it's a Sunday night game. You'll need to have a fallback plan in place. So watch that one. Monday Night Football, Eric Ebron, Ben Roethlisberger, Chris Boswell, all dealing with issues. Boswell practiced fully, so the kicker coming off the concussion if you saw the fake field goal last week. Other side of the ball, David Montgomery could return for this game. Darnell Mooney a little nicked up. We'll find out. Don't have the injury designations yet. And we'll find out. They don't have to activate, since it's a Monday night game, Montgomery until Monday. So if you want to play Khalil Herbert, this one's a little tricky. Or if you're deciding between Khalil Herbert and somebody else, they'll want to watch the website. I'll be looking for any word that we get in advance that this is the week they do. They have a 3-week window, right? So it's not necessarily this week. But Matt Nagy has said when David Montgomery is back, he moves right back into the starting role. And it's easy to forget. Khalil Herbert's been really good, but so is David Montgomery. So there you have it, everybody. Hit the website. Tons of content up there for you DFSers. From myself, Jamie Calandro, some videos with Jamie and Jason Brady. John Lobb has some great stuff, including video content, and the Scholars sheet of DraftKings knowledge is fantastic. Justin Lanero has his DFS content up as well. Don't forget the Commissioner HQ. Great column. I read it every week. Love it. By Reginald James. We have the early in the week. We always have your waiver wire pickups. Evan Tarciano, Joe Kalana, Matthew Sharon have that covered. Tons of technology content, DFS lineup optimizers, DFS ownership percentages, all the things you need, snap counts, target shares, all the things you need, points against. So check it out, FootballDiehards.com. Listen to me on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You'll see me if you're listening to this Saturday. You'll hear me tonight on the Fantasy Channel at 5 p.m. You'll hear me on the NFL Radio for 3 hours at 7 p.m. So check it out. I'm also on the pregame show with Jeff Manns from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. Don't be shy. Hit us up. Have a great week.